Aligning objects in Photoshop is a little more of an operation than in Illustrator, since Photoshop is by nature a little more artistic than tech. Photoshop is the painter, Illustrator the drafter. But with a little work, one can get things precisely lined up. With a blank document open to work with, I've created a couple of objects as a demonstration here to do at least a couple of the kinds of alignment we run into pretty regularly that we need to do. Once the two are built, please note I did put them in separate layers, which is a normal procedure. We can select the two layers, click the one, shift-click the other, and then we need to switch to the Move tool over here to physically manipulate them. Among the options up here at the top, we would then see the Show Transform Controls checkmark. When we turn it on, we see that the two objects are outlined, boxed. We can see where their corners are, and more important, where the center of the two objects would be. Then we can go back up here and find the buttons for controlling alignment. This one here, Align Vertical Centers, allows us to make sure the objects are lined up side to side, as it were. This other button here, Align Horizontal Centers, gets us going from left to right. So the first problem is now solved. The next one is a bit more complex. We have to follow rather like a recipe in cooking, a few more steps involved. If we want the two objects positioned, let's say, exactly at the center of the document, we need a way to find the center and mark it. We could use the calculator if need be to divide the height and width by 2, but for an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, that's not hard. That would be 4.25 and 5.5 inches. We could do it by pixels, we could do it by centimeters, but regardless, knowing the center. The real trick is the next thing. We want to go to the View menu. We want to click the command here called Snap. Snapping allows us to line objects up on various kinds of controls, the grid, the guides, and so on. We would then go to View one more time, slide down to Snap To, and specify what we wanted objects to snap to. I'll use guides. They're the quickest and easiest way to do this. There's even a shortcut we can employ. We can go to the View menu and select New Guide instead of dragging guides out from the rulers. The advantage of this is we can now specify vertical or horizontal and exactly where position-wise. If I say horizontal and then go down here to position, I can tell it 5.5 inches, making sure I have the IN there for inches, and click OK. And our first guide appears. I go to the View menu again, New Guide, specify vertical this time, and 4.25 inches, 4.25, click OK, and we've now marked the exact center of the page. With the Snap feature on, we can now use the Move tool to drag the two objects. Just have to make sure we leave them both selected. And as we get close to the exact center, the Snap feature electronically or magnetically gets the center of the two objects exactly where the two guides meet. And that's that. Since the guides don't print unless we want them to, we can leave them on, or we can go to the View menu and clear guides, get rid of them, or we could go to View to Show and simply uncheck guides here to turn them off, just as good, and they're waiting for us later if we need them.